What's up everybody? While playing Mass Effect 1, I noticed that a lot of enemies in this game never show up again throughout the entire series. So that motivated me to make a video on the more forgotten enemies in the Mass Effect series. Now for an enemy to make this list, they can only appear in one of the Mass Effect games, and they could have never been a part of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, so that eliminates most to all Reaper enemies. Second, I'm not counting Mass Effect 3 enemies since 3 was the last game in the series. There isn't really time to miss them, and Andromeda is in a similar boat. Every enemy is new to that game, so they aren't on this list either. I'm gonna keep it 100. Most of the enemies are gonna be Geth enemies, since they've had more variations than every other enemy faction. But let's not waste any more time and let's get into this. Up first, we have Geth armatures. These were found in Mass Effect 1, and they're basically a smaller version of the more known Geth Colossus. Same attacks and everything. These only appear in Mass Effect 1, and my thoughts as to why these disappeared is that since Mass Effect 2 and 3 ditched the explosive worlds and driving sections of Mass Effect 1, walking tanks weren't as needed, and that having two walking tanks that do the same thing was seen as redundant. The only walking tank we see after Mass Effect 1 is the Geth Colossus on the Haestrom in Mass Effect 2. So with the Colossus also fading from the series, the armatures didn't stand a chance. In Mass Effect 1, the Geth had both assault and rocket drones. These would pop up during certain missions such as Thorian and YMIR. The recon drone is another Geth drone. These are the ones that took out Jenkins, but these would appear in Mass Effect 2, where they provide covering fire for the Geth primes. Assault and rocket drones would show up again in Mass Effect 2, but they wouldn't be associated with the Geth. Geth hoppers are also unique to Mass Effect 1, and these were slender Geth enemies that would hop from place to place, sometimes crawl, and each hopper had a debilitating effect that it could hit you with, such as sabotage or assassination. These acrobats would make you join the Protheans if you didn't watch them. These disappeared because of the gameplay changes from Mass Effect 1 and 2, and developers couldn't get them to work properly. Since the hoppers jump from place to place, you would have had to program each area where they need to land, and to be honest, I could imagine that being a headache. We did get to see a Reaper reanimation though. Saren got turned into a bigger version of a hopper. Recycled enemy type or not, that is one of the more memorable scenes in the entire series. Geth juggernauts have faded away, and I believe it was because of their redundancy. They're basically bigger versions of Geth rocket troopers. White rocket troopers, they mainly fire rockets at you. However, juggernauts are huge as hell, and they have strong shields similar to Geth destroyers or primes. A fatal flaw with the juggernaut is that they lack a secondary weapon, so if their shot misses, slap them with an overload and they're food until it wears off. But that's really it. They don't present the same danger the destroyers do since they don't rush at you, and they aren't as multifaceted as the primes. They are basically bigger and badder rocket troopers. I can see why they disappeared after 1, but I think we needed more Geth commander type enemies in Mass Effect 3, and these could have been used. There is an enemy similar to the Juggernaut in Mass Effect 3, but it's called the Geth Juggernaut Soldier. So it's not exactly the same, and to be honest, the Juggernaut Soldier is closer to a Prime than it is to a rocket trooper in that game. Geth Shock Troopers are the engineer class of the Geth army. They're able to put up a hex shield to protect themselves on top of the strong shields that they already have. And they can also use Carnage, which isn't ideal for you. Unlike the other Geth types I've talked about so far, I really don't understand why these went away. The fact that they were able to emit their own shields made them unique enough to stand on their own. Maybe that didn't mesh with Mass Effect 2's gameplay style. I don't understand why the Geth snipers disappeared either. These are definitely an enemy that could have been in each game. I guess the argument for why they weren't in each game could come down to Mass Effect 2 and 3 being more condensed, so they weren't as necessary, and one of their main abilities wasn't useful in the latter two games, which would be their radar jamming. Your map is linked to the power wheel in Mass Effect 2 and 3. I will never understand why they did this. But I have seen missions where the snipers could have been useful. Haestrom in Mass Effect 2 and the AA Tower mission on Rannoch in 3 are good examples. They could have changed how you handle certain gunfights. They wouldn't even need the jamming ability for that. Thorian creepers are the Thorian's personal foot soldiers. You'll usually find these things sleeping, but they'll rise when the Thorian commands them to, and they'll attack you. Keep them away from you at all times. Their acid vomit is a pain to deal with, but the anti-Thorian gas grenade puts them down quick. These are only in Mass Effect 1 because of their association with the Thorian itself. After you kill the Thorian, you won't really see these guys except for maybe a couple side missions. I wasn't gonna add the Rachni because we do fight them again in Mass Effect 3, they're just Reaper-fied, but I will add the Rachni Brood Warrior because you only fight them on Nethmos in Mass Effect 1. Brood Warriors are the male Rachni. They protect the Rachni nest, so you rarely ever see them, and they're some tough bastards too. But yeah, they've been added to the video just for the rarity of them specifically. Ah, the YMIR mech, the bane of my existence. These boys are in Mass Effect 2, and they will shred you to pieces. Have tech users and heavy weapons present when you face these killing machines. These haven't been seen after 2, and that basically comes down to Shepard no longer beefing with the mechs. Merc groups are the ones that use this type of mech. You don't fight Eclipse, the Blue Suns, or the Blood Pack after 2, so YMIRs haven't been around. Now you do get to fight mechs in Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda, but those aren't automated like the YMIRs are. Lastly, this one isn't really much of an enemy, but maintenance drones. These are found on the Shadow Broker's ship, and they're used to maintain the hull of the ship and remove debris from the storm. They will attack you because they see you as debris, but they're really weak. They go down super fast. But that's it for this video, guys. I hope y'all all enjoyed the video, and I want to thank you all for watching. I think I got every enemy that's only really been in one game, but if there are any I missed, let me know in the comments. Feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, maybe become a channel member, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
DJ Sonic Freak.